Hello, my name's Susie Garden. I'm going to take you through a 20-minute yoga sequence that's designed for postnatal yoga. So I'm assuming that you're at least 6 to 8 weeks post-delivery and that you've had clearance from your doctor to participate in yoga or other similar activities. Also, I'm assuming that you don't have any pre-existing injuries, and if you do, you will need clearance from your doctor to participate in this sequence. So let's get started. So let's bring the backs of the hands to the knees and find this little mudra where you bring your forefinger and thumb together and have the other 3 fingers outstretched. And then just roll the shoulders back a couple of times just to really relax into this pose, closing down the eyes and just having a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And again, in through the nose, out through the mouth. And one more time. And then return to normal breathing, keeping the eyes closed. I know that for many new mums, having just 20 minutes to yourself can be quite a treat. So just make sure you use this time by really focusing on you and giving yourself a break from the busyness that your life has become. So just try and keep your mind on your practice, on your breath, and just try to crowd out any thoughts that might be trying to come in and distract you, and just keep bringing yourself back to your breath and to this practice. So just a few more breaths with the eyes closed. And with each breath, just feel the shoulders softening and feel the face softening. Just release the jaw, perhaps open and close it a few times, just to make sure you're not holding it. Just make sure the spine is nice and straight. Perhaps bring the navel into the spine a little bit, like you're sucking the tummy in. It just helps turn the core muscles on. And then opening the eyes, releasing the hands. We're going to come over onto our hands and knees. And you can use the blanket or something that's nice and soft, maybe even a flat pillow to pad up the knees. And just coming over so that the knees are under the hips, the hands are under the shoulders. And this is called cat-cow. So starting to exhale, just curl the tailbone under, arching up into the spine. And then as you exhale, just curl the tailbone in the other direction and start to look up. And just keep this movement as gentle as you need it to be, exhaling as you arch up into the spine and inhaling as you begin to look up. So you can go a little bit faster than this if you want to, you can go a little bit slower. Just make sure you don't collapse into the shoulders, you keep pushing up through the hands. Another breath in, and then this time when you curl the tailbone under, I want you to become very aware of your abdominal muscles as you feel that tailbone come under. And then you're stretching into the abdomen and then really pulling up that navel to the spine and engaging the core muscles as you move that tailbone underneath. And the next time you come through to neutral, we're going to take the weight into the left hand and the right knee, and we're going to straighten out the right arm and straighten out the left leg, just flexing that foot, and then breathing in, bringing the elbow and the knee together, and as you inhale, stretch them apart. We're going to do this 5 times on each side, really bringing attention to the core. So the abdominal muscles, and working with the breath. So exhaling as the knee and the elbow come together, and inhaling as they come apart. And then we're going to swap over to the other side, so just resetting on all fours, taking the weight into the right hand and the left knee this time. Straightening up the left arm and flexing into that right knee, right foot. Breathing out and in. And then squaring off again with the hands. We're going to remove this blanket, if you're using one. And we're going to come down to the mat. And work a little bit more with the core. So finding a comfortable spot, just lifting each leg, making sure they're hip width apart, and taking the hands down beside the body with the palms facing up. And now this bit is really important. We're going to press the pubic bone into the floor. We're going to engage the kneecaps up so these thighs come nice and strong. And then breathing in, lifting the arms and the legs. Breathing out, relax everything. And then we're going to reset. So pushing that pubic bone into the floor, engaging the knees, breathing in, coming up, breathing out, coming down. And again, just relaxing. Resetting. We're just teaching the body to switch on and off certain muscles. I'm going to do this 2 more times. If you want to stay up for 2 breaths, you can. Last one. And then just relaxing, bringing the hands up underneath the forehead and just rocking those hips side to side. And then bring the hands underneath the shoulders. And now we're going to bring the feet together at the back of the mat. We're going to press that pubic bone down. We're going to press into the tops of the feet. And we're going to breathe in and peel up the top half of the body. So much so that you can still lift your hands. We're not going into an extended lift. Breathing out, coming back down, and again just relaxing everything. Then pressing pubic bone into the mat, tops of the feet into the mat and coming up. Shoulders are away from the ears and back down. And again, relaxing, pubic bone in, tops of the feet, breathing in and out, relaxing. And again, pubic bone into the floor, feet up and back down. And then again, just relaxing. You can move those hips. Beautiful. And then bringing the hands underneath the shoulders, lifting back into our downward facing hero pose. So knees are mat width apart, big toes are touching and the buttocks are on the heels. Coming forward to the level that's comfortable for you. That could be on the forearms, on the fists, or all the way down. We're looking for a mild stretch on the inner thigh. If you're not getting that, just come back up, bring the knees a little bit further apart, and come back down. Next, breath in, looking forward, then walking the hands back towards the body. Bring the knees back in line with the hips, coming over onto all fours again. We're just going to do a lovely shoulder stretch. So taking the weight into the left hand, breathing in, stretching up through the right, breathing out, taking that hand diagonally behind you and coming onto the shoulder, and then breathing in, coming up. I'm going to do this 3 times on each side, stretching into the shoulder, just making sure it's your shoulder taking most of the weight and not your head or your neck. Coming up again and then finding the mat, just making sure you're all nice and square again. Taking the weight into the right hand, breathing in and out, coming down diagonally onto that shoulder. Breathing in and out. One more time, breathing in and out. Stretching up again and back onto all fours. And then we're going to come up into downward dog. So taking the hands forward of the shoulders, they're a little bit wider than the shoulders. Curling the toes under and coming up into your downward dog. So pushing up through the hands, little micro bends in the elbows, spreading the shoulder blades across the back. And you can walk the dog if you like, just bringing one heel down to the mat and then the other. Just enjoying that lovely stretch up through the spine. And then taking the weight into the right foot, breathing in, coming to three-legged dog. Looking between the hands, taking that foot through into a lunge. So we've got a few options here. It's really important that the knee and the ankle are in alignment here. If you wish, you can bring that knee down at the back. What we're looking for is a stretch into this thigh here, into this hip. So you can either have the knee down or the knee up. Shoulders are away from the ears. And just keeping the gaze nice and soft. Just really feel into that beautiful stretch. Having another breath here. And then taking the weight into the hands. Breathing in, stretching up. Then foot back to the mat, walking the dog. Taking the weight into the left foot, breathing into three-legged dog. Taking that foot forward into your lunge. And again, making sure that knee and the ankle are in alignment. You can drop that knee at the back if you wish, or keep it up, just depends on your balance. And that nice soft gaze, shoulders away from the ears, and feeling that stretch into the hip. And then taking the weight into the hands, breathing into your three-legged dog. And then back to the mat, walking the dog. And then from here, breathing in onto the toes, breathing out, heels towards the mat, and then walking the hands towards the feet into our forward bend. Any issues with the lower back, you can use the hands to support the body. Otherwise, allow the body to relax forward, holding onto the elbows, or if you want to, you can wrap the arms around the knees. And just whichever option you're taking, just nod the head. Make sure you've released the neck. A couple of breaths here, enjoying that beautiful stretch down the back, the spine. Even you'll feel it perhaps in the hamstrings. And then we're going to bring the hands back to the mat. We're going to walk back into our downward dog. And just find our downward dog again. So pushing up through the hands. And then bringing the knees to the mat. And coming back down to the floor. Where we're going to commence our floor sequence to really get in touch with our core muscles, our abdominal muscles. So coming down onto the mat, and just if you do have a ponytail like me, just getting rid of that so we've got a lot of space behind the neck. And then bringing the feet hip width apart, and the knees hip width apart. Sometimes it helps to put a block or a book, a pillow even, between the thighs just to get some space there, so that they don't fall in while we're just sort of learning this little sequence. So taking the right hand, palm facing down, the left hand goes onto the abdomen, and just push the lumbar spine into the floor and then release it. And just do this a couple of times to really switch on those abdominal muscles. Those poor old abdominal muscles got stretched for a long time while you were carrying your beautiful baby. So we just need to try and get some tone back into those so that you can start feeling stronger in your back and in your abdomen. And just keep doing this a few times. You'll feel that tailbone tucking under every time the lumbar spine goes towards the floor, and you'll feel the pelvis just rocking a little bit. So once you're confident you've got that movement, you can start to feel the muscles switching on. Just place that other hand down beside you as well. And we're going to press the lumbar spine into the floor and then start to lift the hips. So we've got the hips, the knees in line, and then coming back down slowly like you're placing vertebra by vertebra on the floor, and relax. And then again, pressing that lumbar spine into the floor, coming up, not too high, and then back down. And we're just going to do this a few times and start coordinating the breath. So start to breathe in as you press that lumbar spine down and come up. Breathing out as you bring each vertebra down to the floor. And then coming back up again, breathing in and breathing out. And again, just making sure that you're not bringing the chest up too high. There are poses where you do bring the chest up, but that's not this one. And last one, before we just add on to that little sequence. Coming back down. We're just going to remove this block. And we're going to bring the knees into the chest, give them a nice little squeeze, and just give the spine a little bit of a stretch. And then we're going to place the fingertips onto the kneecaps and just allow the arms to extend. And then bring the feet to the floor, pushing that lumbar spine into the floor. And then we're going to breathe in, start bringing the hips and the arms up. And then lowering the spine and the hands at about the same rate. And when the hips reach the floor, push that lumbar spine into the floor, bring the knees into the chest, squeeze them in, using your core strength, not using the hands. And then coming back up. And then we'll engage the breathing, which can just help you coordinate the movements. Pressing that lumbar spine in, squeezing the knees in. So as soon as the knees start moving away, start breathing in. And this is a long, slow breath. Still breathing in all the way up. And then breathing out again, nice and slowly. As soon as those hips reach the floor, press that lumbar spine in. You're still breathing out. And then you can breathe in. Now the breathing is probably going to take a little bit of practice. So don't worry too much about that. Just get the movements right, really feeling into that core group of muscles in the abdomen. And then you can work on the breathing if you like. So we're going to come back down to the floor, bring those knees in, and this time give them a nice squeeze. You can rock a little bit forward and back, or side to side, whatever feels good for you. And then bringing the feet to the floor, bring the soles of the feet together, allow the knees to fall out to the sides, making sure it's comfortable for your knees. And then breathing in, bring the hands up and over the head, and just relaxing them behind the body. We're just going to be here for about a minute or so, just relaxing. There's no need to try and force the knees down to the floor. Gravity will do that job. And just focusing on your breath, coming in and out of the body, not allowing the mind to wander. And every time you notice the mind has wandered, just gently guide it back to the breath. If you want to pause the video, you can stay for a little bit longer. It's quite lovely. Otherwise, breathing in, stretching the hands out behind you, breathing in all the way up, breathing out as they come towards the mat, and just help the knees together. Nice little squeeze into the chest, and then straightening out the legs. We're going to come into our Shavasana. If you would like to use a bolster or a pillow under the knees to help support the body, that's fine. Otherwise, bring the hands next to the body, palms facing up. Bring the shoulders underneath you so they're away from the ears. Just take a nice deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth, and just relax. You can stay here as long as you like.